Stress, how our body reacts to it, and burnout. This video is about work-related stress, anxiety, and burnout, and what happens in our brain when we feel stressed and anxious.
If we can understand what's going on in our brains when we feel really overwhelmed and stressed, then we can feel a little more in control and manage it. So that it's not just this horrible, awful feeling that's happening to us, but something that we can start to manage. We have two main parts of our mind. We've got a higher cognitive or intellectual part of the brain, and when we operate from there, we're logical, rational, clear thinking, and in control. We've also got a subconscious or emotional primitive part of the brain, and it runs everything to do with your body and also your thought patterns and behaviors. It does this by looking into an enormous library which holds all of our previous thought patterns and behaviors, and is continuously automatically checking into this library and coming back to us with how to respond. So right now, your subconscious mind is coming back with a response for you to sit there and to listen. However, if you were to see a big, wild, angry bear, then your subconscious would look into your library and immediately come back with an instant response. Your heart rate would go up, sweaty palms, and it tells you to run off. While you're here, you feel like you're in a safe place and you can be relaxed and stay in intellectual control. But when there's a life-threatening situation, this more emotional, primitive subconscious part of your mind will move in instantly and you're in fight or flight mode. So you can see there's a relationship between anxiety and intellectual control. When our anxiety level goes up, we lose the intellectual control and the subconscious mind takes over. We want this to happen as the intellectual mind is far too slow and the subconscious mind is basically moving in to protect us from danger. We don't want to be in our thinking brain if there's life-threatening danger around. However, the subconscious cannot tell the difference between anxiety and a life-threatening situation. It recognizes anxiety as danger and it moves in to look after us. It will move in three distinct primitive patterns, which are depression, anxiety, or anger, or any combination of the three. Basically, the fight, flight, or freeze mode. When that happens, we lose our higher cognitive function and our primitive brain moves in to take over. Our amygdala, our fear center, gets activated. And we want that to happen as this primitive part of the brain is instinctive and reactive and much faster than the higher cognitive part of the brain. Any kind of negative thinking, ruminating, or forecasting in our mind gets converted into anxiety. We know that high levels of stress and anxiety can cause insomnia, and lack of sleep is also directly linked to the immune system. We have a mechanism in our mind to deal with this, and it's in our sleep, and it's the REM sleep. So with our dreams being a metaphorical rerun and processing of all the negative thoughts and emotions we've had throughout the day, so REM, dream sleep, should be about 20% of our sleep, alternating with the slow wave, deeper stages of sleep. Imagine a bucket, like a stress bucket. If through the course of the day we start filling this bucket with negative thoughts and emotions, and as long as we're not doing too much of that and sleeping okay, we wake up with an empty bucket and we can start again. However, if there's too much of that negative stuff, the bucket becomes less and less able to empty adequately, and eventually it overflows. It's the bucket overflowing which prompts the primitive bit of our brain to think there's something wrong and that it needs to move in and take over. This part of our brain is focused on the negative because it's trying to protect us. It's obsessive because it's not the thinking, cognitive part of our mind, and it can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. So whatever we're thinking or imagining, it thinks it's all real and happening. All the subconscious part of the brain can do is refer back to that library and come back with a response. And those responses are like templates in our mind. The more we repeat them, the more they become reinforced and become automatic, whether they're helpful or not. This can lead to maladaptive coping strategies, such as avoidance, which reinforce the negative cycle. And this results in burnout, with feelings of emotional exhaustion and an empty or low battery, the sense that you're not accomplishing anything, and depersonalization. So when we talk about mind and anxiety, burnout and stress, we must also remember that the body as well, because the two are not independent from each other. It impacts the whole body. Cortisol is created by a stress response, Evidence is increasing on the impact of high levels of cortisol and how it increases the stress, the wear and tear on the organs of the body, compromising our immune systems and causing our brain to function less efficiently. In other words, we don't think clearly. When we're in this negative mode and the brain thinks we're under stress, it's always looking around for danger and thinking negatively. The good news is that we can retrain the brain because the brain is plastic and neuroplasticity is a significant area of research going on currently. And we can retrain our brain to start paying attention to what is good, noticing the small things that are there and focusing outwards rather than inwards, and also learning techniques to manage stress and anxiety, such as body scanning. And so now we understand how our brains work, we can feel a little more in control and can use this to develop strategies for how we can manage stress, anxiety, and burnout.
For more information, please contact Professor Katie Webb or Dr. Ian Collins.